When Derek Hutchins's truck broke down on a remote logging road in northern Montana, he thought they'd be back on the highway in an hour. He was wrong by 5 days and 23 hours. What started as a weekend camping trip between a recently divorced father and his 11-year-old daughter turned into a survival story that would test everything Derek thought he knew about parenting, and everything his daughter Maya had learned from watching nature documentaries. By day 3, Derek would be unconscious with a broken leg and hypothermia. By day 6, Maya would be the one making life-or-death decisions that most adults couldn't handle. This is the true story of how a child became the parent, and how getting lost in the wilderness found them each other. Derek Hutchins was trying to be a good dad. That's all he wanted. The divorce had been brutal. 18 months of lawyers, custody battles, and watching his daughter split her time between two houses that neither felt like home. Maya was quiet now, not the chatty kid she'd been before everything fell apart. She answered in single words. She stayed in her room. She looked at him like he was a stranger. So Derek planned a camping trip. Just the two of them. 3 days in the Montana wilderness where his dad used to take him. Father-daughter bonding. Get back what they'd lost. Maya agreed with a shrug. Not excited. Just willing. They loaded Derek's old pickup with camping gear, drove 4 hours north, and turned onto Forest Road 228, a gravel logging road that barely qualified as a road. Derek had been here 20 years ago. It probably looked different now, but he'd find the campsite. He remembered. Have you ever been so sure you knew where you were going that you ignored every sign you were lost? 2 hours on that logging road, the truck started making a grinding noise. Then smoke. Then it just died. Middle of nowhere. No cell signal. No other cars. Just trees and mountains and silence. It's fine, Derek said, popping the hood. Just overheated. We'll let it cool down. Maya said nothing. Just stared out at the endless forest. An hour later, the truck still wouldn't start. Derek tried everything he knew, which wasn't much. He was an accountant, not a mechanic. Okay, new plan, Derek said with forced optimism. We hike back to the main road. Can't be more than a few miles. We flag down a car, get help, come back for the truck. Maya looked at him with an expression he couldn't read. Which way? Derek pointed down the road they'd come from. That way. We just retrace our route. What Derek didn't know, what he wouldn't realize until much later, was that Forest Road 228 had 3 forks. And he'd taken the wrong one 2 hours ago. They were walking in the wrong direction. Subscribe now. What happens next will show you what your kids are really capable of. They walked for 4 hours. The sun was setting. The road never hit the highway. It just kept winding deeper into forest, getting narrower, less maintained, until it wasn't really a road anymore, just a grown-over trail. Dad, I think we went the wrong way, Maya said quietly. We're fine. Just a little further. But they weren't fine. And Derek knew it. His phone was dead. Maya's was in the truck, she'd left it charging. They had 2 bottles of water, some granola bars, and the clothes on their backs. The temperature was dropping. They'd passed the point where turning back made sense. They needed shelter. Derek found a spot under a rock overhang, out of the wind. They gathered pine needles for insulation. Ate 1 granola bar each. Derek tried to start a fire with sticks and friction like he'd seen on TV. It didn't work. His hands just got bloody. Maya watched him fail for 20 minutes, then quietly said, "We need dry tinder. And you're rubbing too fast. Since when do you know about starting fires?" Survival shows. I watched them with Mom. Something tightened in Derek's chest. Of course she did. Of course she had a whole life with her mother that he knew nothing about. Okay, he said, swallowing his pride. Show me. Maya found dry bark shavings under a dead log. Arranged them carefully. Showed Derek the proper angle and pressure for friction. It took another 30 minutes, but together they got an ember. Then smoke. Then flame. That first fire saved their lives. But neither of them knew yet how much more Maya would have to save. Comment below, at what age did you learn real survival skills? Day 2 started with optimism. They'd follow the trail, whatever direction it went, until it led somewhere. People had to use these logging roads. Eventually they'd find help. By noon, Derek's optimism was fading. The trail had disappeared completely. They were navigating by compass now, except Derek's phone compass wasn't working without signal, and he'd never learned to use the sun properly. They were walking in circles. Maya noticed first. "Dad, we passed that fallen tree an hour ago." Derek looked at the massive dead pine lying across their path. She was right. He'd seen it before. Okay. Let's just pick a direction and stick with it. West. We go west until we hit something. But which way was west? The forest canopy was thick. The sun was high and hard to track. Derek made his best guess and kept walking. That's when the terrain changed, rocky, steep, unstable. Derek was climbing over a boulder field when his foot slipped. He heard the crack before he felt the pain. His left leg, twisted wrong, bone breaking. Derek went down hard, screaming. Maya was at his side in seconds. "Dad! Dad!" The pain was white-hot, blinding. Derek couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. His leg was bent at an angle that made Maya look away. "It's broken," Derek gasped. "Oh God, it's broken." What happened next separated Maya from most adults in crisis situations. She didn't panic. She didn't cry. She got to work. Subscribe so you don't miss how an 11-year-old became the leader. This gets intense. Maya had watched enough survival shows to know the basics: immobilize the injury, prevent shock, keep him warm. She found 2 straight branches and used their shoelaces to splint Derek's leg. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. She helped him hobble to flat ground, out of the rocks. She built a fire, faster this time, more confident. Derek was slipping in and out of consciousness. The pain, the shock, the realization that they were in serious trouble, it was all too much. "Maya," he whispered. "You need to go find help. Follow water downhill. It leads to civilization. I'm not leaving you. You have to. I can't walk. You can." Maya's face was set, determined. "If I leave you, you'll die. You're going into shock and you can't keep yourself warm." "I'm not leaving." Derek wanted to argue. But he couldn't. She was right. An 11-year-old girl was making better survival decisions than her 39-year-old father. Day 3 was when things got really bad. Derek's leg was swollen, probably infected. He was feverish, delirious. Maya kept the fire going, rationed their last granola bar, tried to keep her father hydrated with water from a stream she'd found 50 yards away. She'd tested the water first, let it sit, looked for parasites, boiled it when possible. Skills from TV shows. Skills that were keeping them alive. But Derek was getting worse. He needed real medical help. And Maya knew she'd eventually have to make the choice: stay with him and hope for rescue, or leave him and go find help. She chose option 3, make herself visible. Maya had noticed something: small planes flying overhead. Search planes, maybe. Or just regular air traffic. Either way, they needed to be seen. She cleared a large area near their camp, pulled away branches, moved rocks, created a visible break in the forest canopy. Then she used pine boughs to spell out SOS in letters 20 feet tall. Where did an 11-year-old learn to do this? Netflix survival documentaries and YouTube videos she'd been watching for a year while her parents fought through divorce proceedings. While adults argued about custody schedules, Maya was learning how to stay alive. If you're still not subscribing, comment why, because this story proves kids see more than we think. Day 4 and 5 blurred together. Derek was mostly unconscious. Maya kept him alive through sheer will, maintaining the fire, forcing water down his throat, talking to him even when he didn't respond. "Remember when you used to take me fishing? I was 6. You taught me how to bait the hook even though I was scared of the worms. You said brave doesn't mean not scared. It means doing it anyway." She was talking to herself as much as to him. Reminding herself to be brave. On day 6, Maya heard the helicopter. She'd been gathering firewood when the sound cut through the forest, distant but unmistakable. She dropped everything and ran to their camp, grabbed handfuls of green pine needles, threw them on the fire. Thick white smoke billowed up. The helicopter circled once. Twice. Then descended. The rescue crew found Derek unconscious, severely dehydrated, with a badly broken leg showing signs of infection. They found Maya, covered in dirt, exhausted, but alert and functional, sitting beside him, feeding the signal fire. The lead paramedic later told reporters, "That little girl saved her father's life. No question. Another day and we'd have been recovering a body." But here's what most people don't know about this story, the part that really breaks you. When Derek finally woke up in the hospital 3 days later, the first thing he asked was whether Maya was okay. The nurse smiled. "She's fine. She's been here the whole time. Won't leave your side." Derek started crying. "I was supposed to take care of her. I was supposed to show her I could be a good dad. Instead she had to save me." The nurse's smile faded. "Mr. Hutchins, your daughter told us something while you were unconscious." "What?" "She said this trip was the first time in 2 years you actually talked to her. Really talked. She said getting lost was the best thing that ever happened to you both." Subscribe before you miss why this matters more than the rescue. Derek spent 6 weeks recovering. Broken leg, infection, severe dehydration. Maya visited every day after school. They talked, really talked, about the divorce, about shared custody, about feeling lost in more ways than one. "I wasn't trying to save you just because you're my dad," Maya told him during one visit. "I was saving you because I finally got you back. The real you. Not the sad, guilty version who doesn't know how to talk to me anymore." Derek realized something that should have been obvious. He'd been so focused on being a good divorced dad, that he'd forgotten how to just be her dad. The camping trip, the disaster, the survival, the 6 days of being truly dependent on each other, had stripped away all the awkward post-divorce performance. In the wilderness, they couldn't pretend. They could only be real. The media covered the story, girl, 11, saves father after 6 days lost in Montana wilderness. Maya did interviews, appeared on morning shows, got praised for her quick thinking and survival skills. But she always said the same thing, "I just did what needed to be done." That's what you do for people you love. Some say Derek was irresponsible for getting them lost in the first place. Others say Maya's the hero. What do you think? Drop your opinion in the comments. Today, Derek and Maya go camping regularly, with proper equipment, GPS devices, emergency beacons, and survival training they took together. They're certified in wilderness first aid. They know how to navigate without technology. But more importantly, they know how to talk to each other. The wilderness didn't just test their survival skills. It forced them to survive each other, to work as partners, to trust, to be honest about fear and weakness and need. Getting lost was terrible, Derek said in a follow-up interview a year later. But finding each other in that forest? That was everything. Maya, now 12 and noticeably more confident, added, "We were already lost before the truck broke down. We just didn't know it." The forest just made it obvious. The real story isn't about wilderness survival. It's about two people who'd lost their connection finding it again when everything else was stripped away. It's about a father learning that strength sometimes means admitting you need help, even from your 11-year-old daughter. It's about a daughter discovering that loving someone means showing up when they're broken, not just when they're whole. Derek keeps the splint Maya made from branches and shoelaces in a frame on his wall. Next to it is a photo from day 6, Maya and Derek, dirty and exhausted, wrapped in emergency blankets, grinning at the camera. They look like hell. They look like they've been through war. They look like a family. Subscribe now, because real stories about real resilience matter more than ever. The lesson isn't that you should get lost in the wilderness to fix your relationship with your kids. Obviously. The lesson is that sometimes crisis reveals who people really are, and sometimes who they really are is better than you ever imagined. Maya wasn't just a quiet kid going through her parents' divorce. She was resourceful, brave, capable. She'd been learning, growing, preparing herself for challenges while Derek was too consumed by guilt to notice. Derek wasn't just a failed husband trying to perform fatherhood. He was someone who could admit weakness, accept help, and let his daughter lead when she was the stronger one. They both had to get lost, literally, to find what mattered. If you know someone who needs to hear this story, a single parent, a kid feeling invisible, anyone who's lost their way, share it. Not because it's dramatic. Because it's true. And because sometimes the wilderness teaches us what comfort never could, that we're stronger than we think, especially when we stop trying to do everything alone.